LEDs have a different spectrum.
Right.
And just all the computer devices and things that we use.
Stuff.
So, but just light entering our eyes is going to be light as photons, and photons can do free radical damage. So just the mere fact that we open our eyes, the mere fact that we're alive and living, the mere fact that the cells in our eyes are working, and when they generate energy, they have oxidative fallout. So like every tissue in our body, our eyes are aging. And there's a very well-designed system in our eyes, and it's both part of our visual system, meaning that the ingredients that are necessary for our eyes to see their best are also ingredients that will stick around and also preserve our vision the best over the course of our lifetime. Again, it's that part of our design that it both works short-term for immediate gratification, but long-term in terms of preserving our vision as well. And that's lutein and zeaxanthin, the two key ingredients in this product. Two of the most expensive ingredients that you'll see in any product. And the reason why we talked about this when we talked about my multivitamin Essential 1, we put a little bit of lutein, a little bit of zeaxanthin in Essential 1. If I remove the 1 milligram of lutein and the ½ milligram of zeaxanthin without even considering the lycopene, if I just remove that 1 milligram and that ½ milligram, that would lower the cost of that product by about 1/3.
Wow.
Now think about a product that has 10 milligrams and 5 milligrams, so literally 10 times more lutein and zeaxanthin. And that's what this product contains. And notwithstanding the ingredients and their cost, it's unbelievably affordable for a product of this kind. And when we think about the average American is lucky to get maybe 1 or 1.5 milligrams of lutein and zeaxanthin a day, this makes, even if you took just 1 or 2 capsules a week of this product, it would make a profound difference on your lutein and zeaxanthin intake.
Absolutely. It's a 4.6-star customer pick average. It's a monthly special.
It's a see the difference literally product.
It literally is a see the difference product. 30, 60, 180, or 360, big savings. And this is a very expensive product to make and manufacture. And if whether you're like me, I'm always on the tablet. In fact, what's interesting about this product, even though I'm, in my mid-50s, I should be seeing profound changes in my vision, and I have not. I mean, now again, it's not a cure or treatment for anything. I mean, we're all gonna get older because it's better than the alternative. But I can tell you for a fact, at my age, the fact that I'm able to look at a tablet during our live shows,